and a game-changing player. So I think, players in general feed off each other. And I think it's no different for somebody like Miles. When Miles is rushing well, it energizes the rest of the group. And when the rest of the group is rushing well, it energizes Miles. And I'd say that through all 11 guys on defense. We're a team that, we try to play physical. We try to play with great effort. And we try to show some personality. Well, that personality shows through a lot when guys are making plays. Guys are celebrating on the field. That synergy is building. And guys are feeding off of each other with that energy. So we certainly do that with Miles. But I think also, he gets energized with some other players. I think it's easy to see on film. A lot of times see him congratulating some of the other players, and he comes over the sideline. A lot of times maybe he'll take a triple team, and somebody else will make a sack, and he's really happy for that guy. That gives us a lot of energy also.
Even when you look at Cam Ward, his numbers aren't great. And what do you see when you look at him?
Yeah, he's rookie quarterback. So, going through, it's hard to evaluate them without 100% knowing exactly what their scheme is and things like that, but has taken a bunch of sacks. And probably one of the biggest things for us is we really got to be, disruptive in the middle of the pocket, because he's given up a lot of fumbles this year also. And, it's one thing to take sacks, but you turn a sack into a fumble. Sacks are game-changing plays. Forced fumbles in the pocket are huge plays. So we'll need stuff like that also.
Miles, I know you talk about it all the time, but when you get a short field, you got to try to keep them to 3 points. So how disappointed were you in that? And it looked like they converted some third downs when you had a chance to get off the field.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest thing in that game. We did a lot of really good things in that game. Like, we held them to less than 4 yards. I think it was like 3.8 yards a play, which is really good. And, McCaffrey, the leading, scrimmage yards, I think he had like 75 yards on a lot of touches. He was like 2.8 a touch, which is obviously what you got to do with those guys. I think really that game in the whatever, the crucible, whatever you want to call it, was the third downs, particularly in the red zone. We get a chance to hold those to 3 and be able to get off the field. And you're not going to make every one. That's a talented group. There's a group that can do a lot of things, but that was probably the tail of the tape in that game. We need to do 50% better job on third down, half of those completions or half of those conversions. And none of them were like big plays. It was just, you got a short field and 2 yards means an awful lot, or, the ability to convert in some of those. So that's the biggest thing I was disappointed in that game is it was frustrating in our ability to not get off the field on some of those third downs, especially in the red zone. Again, that's a good group. We think we're a good group. We got to find a way to be a little bit better in there, and then holding them to field goals there. We can keep that game at least manageable within a score. It was 2 scores, I think, with about 7 minutes left or something like that. But obviously that goes a long way, and that's where we failed to get the job done on Sunday.
Yeah, that was one of the big shockers in that game. The Browns' third down defense gave up 11 conversions. They'd given up 50 total in the 11 games prior. So that's just under 5 a game. It's like 4.5 a game. And they were able to come back from that. They have to be able to come back for that, I'm sorry. And I think they will have a good opportunity to, because here come the Tennessee Titans, quarterbacked by Cam Ward, and they just so happen to be the worst third down offense in the NFL, just 29% conversions. The Niners were number 2. They're one of the better third down offenses. That was a little bit where they won in that game. And you heard Jim Schwartz say that. It was a surprise. I think the Browns will bounce back, and I think that they will be quite good going forward. All right, let's hear from Cam Ward from the podium as we go behind enemy lines.
What have you seen from the guy?
You're down.
Against Miles Garrett, and how fearsome is he in terms of rushing pass?
Really good. Probably the best player that there is at that position. And he's, proved that, game in and game out. So we got to do our job of not, letting him affect the game, just each and every play, try to keep a lid on it. And, just got to continue to execute our plays, try to execute up and down the field.
What are your memories of interacting with Cleveland in the draft process, and how close did you feel like you were coming to being a Brown during that process?
I had great meetings with those guys, from ownership all the way to the head coach and the GM. They showed me nothing but love, and they got a great building. The people that I met there, and it was an honor to, have them, be able to pick me if it would have went out that way. So I'm excited down here. I'm excited down with Titan, and I think everything worked out for a reason.
It's going to be really cold, windy up there. What's the coldest, windiest game you've ever played in before?
Probably about 5 degrees.
Where was that at?
Washington State.
How'd you do?
Pretty good. You get a little bit more grip on the ball in the cold. So it's gonna be exciting to get back in my element and just try to play football and help lead my guys.
Obviously Garrett stands out, but what about the rest of Cleveland's defense stands out to you when you see one film?
I just think they fire on all cylinders. The secondary, they're very good secondary. The D-line, Mason Green's a real good player. Linebacker core is real good. So I just think they complement each other real well. They really don't do a lot of just complicated stuff. They do the stuff that they're good at. It's helping them, be one of the best defenses out there. So we just got to continue to, harp on the little things that we got to get better at and execute versus those guys.
I know he was out one game there, but it's been a while since you and Alec really had your connection. What's kind of happened with him, with you and him, and what needs to happen for you to get back where you were kind of at the beginning of the season?
Just continue to harp on the little things from me and him. Doing a lot of things in the film room to, help limit just the bad plays by, him, myself, me putting the ball, in a good framework of his to, come down to catch. Then me and him really just have to make the play. I think that's the biggest thing.
Cam, when it comes to you and Shador, do you see similarities in the way you've both had to navigate some adversity in the league as rookies so far?
I think every rookie's journey is different. He may have a good game this week, a bad game next week. I may have a bad game this week, good game next week. So you really just take it week to week. You play the play call, you live, the quarterback way of not getting too high or too low at any aspect. You really just continue to try to, focus on what you can do. Because at the end of the day, I don't know what's going on in their building. I don't know what he has to deal with on a daily basis in and out of the building. I just try to focus, on the Titans and, doing what I can do to help us get the wins.
All right, that's Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft. Ward this season 1-11 as a starter. 60% completions, 2,351 yards, 7 touchdowns, 6 picks, a 75 rating. He's been sacked an NFL high 48 times. He's run for another 123 yards and a touchdown as well. But he's starting to play a little bit better football. He's not thrown an interception in 4 straight games. He's completed at least 63% of his passes in 3 straight games, and 2 of his 3 best quarterback ratings on the season, 91 and 87 against Houston and Seattle in that 3-game stretch. So he's playing better football for them. Their running back, Tony Pollard, was a Pro Bowler in 2022, formerly Dallas Cowboys. He's got 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. That's going to come to an end. He leads the team with 582 yards right now. I guess he could get hot still. They got an opportunity. He goes for about 100 yards a game the rest of the way. 2 touchdowns. They also have Tajay Spears. He's leading their team with 4.9 yards a carry. He's run 39 times, 158 yards. He catches it more out of the backfield, 28 catches, 173. Their tight ends have been kind of their top receivers. Chig Okonkwo, 39 catches, 406 yards, no touchdowns, leads the team in catches and yards. And then Gunnar Helm, 36 catches, 290, and a touchdown. Their receivers are young. Helm's a rookie, by the way. So are their top receivers right now in terms of snaps played last week. Alec Iomanner, he right now 29 catches, 339 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chime Dike, 29 catches, 260, and 2 scores. Then they got Van Jefferson. He's got 21, 220, and a touchdown. This is not a what I would call a prolific offense by any stretch of the imagination. They have been sacked the most times in the NFL. They're the 31st rushing offense, the 30th passing offense, the 32nd worst total offense, the lowest scoring offense in the National Football League. They produce the fewest first downs in the league. They are the worst on third down. They're near the bottom of the league in the red zone and goal to go. This is a bad offense. They've been bad, but they're playing better. and they played some teams tough. I think the matchup here, Myles Garrett against Dan Moore Jr. Dan Moore's already given up 8 sacks this season. Their other tackle, J.C. Latham, their first rounder a year ago, he's given up 7 sacks. So the tackles have given up 15 sacks on their own so far this year. I expect Myles Garrett to have a field day in this one. If the Browns can build a lead and they can force the Titans to become a passing offense, this could be another 10-sack game. Myles Garrett could break the record here in this one. I think this could be a 4-sack game. We've seen him do it twice already this season. But I think that this certainly could happen. So I'm excited to see this one. I think this is a get-right game for our defense, which I thought did play well last week. But if we can do a better job of not giving up those short fields, do a better job of special teams, play the field position games, I'm totally fine with that because I think your defense has an opportunity not only to get sacks, but to make plays and score points. I think that is going to be very, very cool to see on Sunday, especially the weather. It's going to look like a little snow. It's going to be a wild one, but I think this Browns defense should absolutely dominate this Tennessee Titans offense. The matchup they have to win is just don't beat themselves. No bad penalties, don't extend drives, and don't give up any random kind of, slip on the banana peel chunk plays. Don't do that, and I think you are going to have a banner defensive performance for your Cleveland Browns. When we come back, part 2 of my interview with Browns cornerback coach Brandon Lynch. B. Lynch. It's coming up next on Cleveland Browns Daily here on 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM, the preferred provider of copiers and document services for the Cleveland Browns, who can tackle any size office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet. Time now for part 2 of my exclusive interview with Browns quarterback coach and just tremendous human being, Brandon Lynch. I want to ask you, you mentioned, and you said it in your way, back to the ball play, which means finding the ball when he's out there in perfect position. Yeah. And even that was kind of one of the, I don't want to say knocks, but that was one of the concerns about him coming when he came to us.
Check.
That first game against Pittsburgh, you even saw a couple times, maybe he didn't find it. It seems like it has gotten significantly better, and it's not even anything you're even noticing. His head's around and he's there. How did you guys work with him to get, because I've noticed improvement, and maybe you'd say you don't know what you're watching, but it feels like it. How have you guys worked with him on that in particular? Because it does seem like there's been a movement of the needle there.
Sure. And you know what? It's honestly making the complex simplistic. And when we say that, there are certain markers of the field that we talk about becoming a receiver.
Yeah.
So for us, like in our press, you get an outside release, we're playing the 9-ball first. And playing the 9-ball first, we know that like once you get through 9 yards, that's the 9 stop. Once we get through 15 to 18 yards, that's the back shoulder where we want to stay chest to chest. And then after 18 yards, we want to become the receiver. So he's a studious player who's extremely bright. So when he leaves those markers of 18, he knows that he wants to look up and back because he is the receiver. We kind of talk about that if we're at one of these guys' 7-on-7 tournaments, and, you know, J.A. played quarterback. You can throw the ball. Coach Lynch can't throw the ball as well as you guys. However, if I'm throwing the ball in one of these tournaments, go get the damn ball, right? Yeah. So becoming a receiver after 18 yards, this is just ball drills Coach Lynch is throwing them. Let's not miss a rep.
When you say that, so you say 9 yards, that's a stop. 15 to 18, that's where it would be back shoulder. Is that steps? Because it's not like they're looking down. So is that how do you take those markers into actually what you're doing in your technique?
No doubt, man. You know what? Like a bit of nerd talk, like those are yard marks. And we break it down in phase 1, which is the line of scrimmage through 5 yards. Phase 2, which is the transition area, 6 yards through 14. And then after 14 yards, we say phase 3. So when we're looking at that, we have certain markers on where our eyes are to transition. So phase 1, line of scrimmage through 5 yards, we key the knee so that we can get hands on, we can disrupt timing and space. Once they climb into phase 2, which is 6 through 14, we key the hips for transition clues.
Yep.
So once we see that, obviously we can break back. But after that, we key the ear hole. So when we look at 14 plus yards, if that ear hole goes back, bam, you know that the back shoulder's coming right in between those markers. If the ear hole stays forward, it is the 9-ball. Race that guy to 25 to 35 yards.
That's good. That's good. I don't think people realize how hard playing corner is, especially you can't really put your hands on guys anymore. And think about all those things you're thinking about, which receivers ultimately, they have an idea. So they're going to try to give you some fake clues. The great route runners are going to make the back shoulder look like the go, right? Or the stop look like the go. It's fun, man. That's a fun battle.
But with you saying that, I'm going to tell you a funny story about Coach Schwartz, right? Because I played for him as a rookie. So I come in, this is after practice, we're running one of our man calls, and he pretty much said exactly what you said. He's like, guys, look, the receivers know where they're going. Every rookie's like nodding their head like, yes. We don't have our defensive line, which you know that our front's going to attack. He's like, man, so those guys are on time and in space, everybody's nodding. He said, that's BS. He says, we tell them where to go. So with that, we dictate and respond off what the receiver gives us. We try to tell our guys to be non-reactive, because if we're reactive, that means somebody's controlling what we're doing. Mm-hmm. So we want to really respond off those indicators that we're talking about so we can dictate exactly what needs to be done.
I like it. It's fun to watch, certainly on the outside. And then this is one where Miles Harden, drafted in the 7th round last year, hurt for much of his rookie year. It comes into the preseason, certainly not pegged to be a starter. Mm. Comes in and gets tested. I mean, you go back to those Detroit and the Minnesota games, they're using late motions to take the 1 and bring him into 2 to get him inside to get Jamison Williams, Justin Jefferson. We saw that a couple of weeks in a row where teams were doing that to get them on Miles. And Miles kind of answered the call. And I remember talking to him after those 2 games in particular, and you could see his confidence. He's like, all right, if I can run one-on-one with Jamison Williams and I can cover Justin Jefferson, and they're going to get theirs, right? But if I can do a good job, like I can cover anybody.
Sure.
And you saw I felt like his confidence grow. And the compliment I give him is we don't call his name. Now, you obviously the next step is calling his name for ball production, but like we're not calling his name being like, oh, they got Miles Harden again,
Sure.
or oh, yeah. And you think about, when he first came in against Baltimore early in the year, that was a kind of a little bit of a rude awakening. How have you seen him progress? And I mean that again, it's a great comment. Like, you don't notice that Miles Harden is out there in a good way.
Sure. You know what level of preparedness? He's a guy that when his opportunity has come, he is prepared and he's able to show that on tape, and that's working with Larry. That's with, our Pat down there in the training room. That's with who he trains with in the off season. This is a young guy that really prepared for this moment, and he prepared for this moment ever since his rookie year. Just unfortunately, he got hurt. Had to learn some other things, right? Bit of a learning curve.
He had a great
for him.
training camp his rookie year.
Oh, my goodness. Really good training camp.
Yeah.
But now when you see him out there now, this is a young guy that studies. We ask our nickels really to be like a quarterback on the field, right? So when we say trusted teammate, if we have anything that's not like it needs to be in the secondary, the first two positions that we're looking at is Miles, and we're looking at the safeties because he's lumped in that tip of the spear nerve center.
Yep.
And he's a guy, man, who has really leveraged that opportunity.
It's cool to see. Would you say that you've seen his confidence grow as well?
Yes, absolutely.
And that has to help you play fast, right?
Mandatory. But you know what? Part of us talking about like our speed of play is you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and he's a guy like he studies. And realistically, hey, like keep it simplistic, right? What's important to us? Be as physically violent as you can.
Yep.
Give great effort, right? And then have some swag and passion about it.
Yeah, which is certainly fun to see. So this has been it's been quite a journey for you. Obviously, this year you're getting to do all that teaching. Your room has been so productive. What do you want to see over these final 5 to kind of close out the season for your guys?
Sure. I want our guys to really finish. We've been talking about just like we talked about at the opening of it. When opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. So regardless on where we are, when we're making a playoff run in December, we really have to do a great job embodying what's important to us, which we know are top 3. We got to do a great job stopping the run. We got to take the ball away from the offense. So in these last 5 weeks, I want to see guys really emphasize what's the very most important things to our defense and our team. And I want our guys to finish off tough and competitive.
Yeah, and I know that they will because that's what you demand of them. We got to get one more pick for Denzel at least.
Oh, one.
He's had at least. I'm just saying we have to at least get at least. I said at least.
Check.
He's had at least 2. He's the only player ever to start his career. He's had at least 10 passes defense and 2 picks every year to start his NFL career. It's never happened before. And earlier, a couple weeks ago, he passed Joe Hayden for the most pass breakups. He got to 102 in Cleveland Browns franchise history. So he's doing awesome. But I want to make sure we keep that. They got to throw it to him.
I'm glad you said that.
They got to throw it to him.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. So I'm just thinking about a little trap coverage in there or something. Get an easy one for Denzel. A little chip one there. All right. The great B. Lynch, thank you so much for the time. Always a pleasure, man. I hope you and your family are doing well. And let's go, man. Finish it up strong.
Hey, likewise, man.
Love
seeing you, man.
You too. You too. I love B. Lynch.
A minute and a half left.
What an absolutely tremendous human being. We got Dr. J in there. We had what a conversation ran the gamut. There is Dr. J. You're in the shot, Dr. J. So is young Gabriel. I love that guy. Very cool. And I thought it was very cool. He was like pumped to learn that about Denzel. And he's like, oh yeah, we gotta keep it going. Denzel, for those wondering, he has an interception and 8 passes defense. So over the final 5, we need 1 pick, 2 passes defense. Passes defense feels like a lock. Got to get that pick. He's got to get some opportunities, but hopefully we will get that.
Passes defense in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's going to be.
That could happen in the first half Sunday.
That's going to be easy. All right, tonight, big show. Join Gerard and myself from 7 to 8 for the Kevin Stefanski Show all across the University Hospital's Cleveland Browns radio network. Browns tight end, Browns leading receiver. He of 51 catches, 505 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Your leading receiver for the Cleveland Browns, Harold Fannin, will join the show. Coach will join the show as well as we get you ready for Sunday's home game against the Tennessee Titans. So, again, Kevin Stefanski Show tonight, 7 to 8. Me, Gerard, Fannin, Stefanski, Gibbe, and hopefully each and every one of you. This was a fun one today. Good job, Gibbe. Good job, G-Man. Good job, Dr. J. On behalf of Bo Bishop, I'm Nathan Zagura saying thank you so much for listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly, and you've been listening to 850 ESPN Cleveland.